Hello everybody. Of course, I am Briefcase, bringing you the ESPL Weekly Series number 3, along with the lovely and handsome Mito.
Oh, I'm still trying to shake off the previous game. It still haunts me.
I know, I'm so jazzed. 6-slotted Naga just seems to be too much to deal with. But of course, we need to get into this game, this second round of the semifinals between BubbleBlowers up there on the Dire and Cede Nullis on the Radiant. So, of course, just mention it once again, everybody. If you don't know what the ESPL Weekly Series is, then it's a weekly tournament, $100 on the line every single time. Not to mention, as soon as you get past the first round, there are league points given out to every single team who does pretty well. And at the end of everything, after the end of 3 months, there'll be a final, a big event featuring Speed and Sigma Gaming as well, where those amateur teams will get to play against them. So, I mean, that should be a hoot in itself. $5,000 is going to be the prize pool for that big one, not to mention half of the Dota TV tickets that are sold. So, should be pretty good, I have to say. But I think I've waxed on long enough about that. Let's get into the draft, shall we, Mito?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just looking at the players, I felt that Cede Nullis, they're probably the crowd favorite. They have some of the former professional players like Frieza and Sony, who used to play for the Elder Gods back a long time ago. And Zizzo, he used to play for Kaipi, I believe. So yeah, I mean, they have the skill sets, they have the experience. The question is, do you think BubbleBlowers have what it takes to match Cede Nullis?
I don't know, dude. They do have someone called Lucat and Jalopy, and personally, I'm loving both of those names. So, not to mention, I mean, I always gotta root for the underdogs, no matter the odds, every single time.
Well, I'm just happy to see like those former professional players come back into the game and still loving it and still playing it. And because I mean, I've been around for a very long time as well. I mean, been following the scene since like, I don't know, since I was 12. But yeah, looking at the draft, right, instantly the Viper ban, that's something that I love as well. Viper, in terms of one-on-one laning, he's one of the hardest heroes to deal with. And then on Cede Nullis, they banned out the Venomancer and Timbersaw. I can understand why they would think those two heroes are first ban and second ban worthy. Overall, just very powerful. And now they've picked up two very strong heroes of their own, the Slug as well as the Doom. They have right away. You see, they have the ganking power. I can't tell very much because the other three heroes haven't been picked. But just looking at these two in particular, it does kind of give us a very mid-game centric, gank-oriented form of lineup. Whereas BubbleBlowers, they oh, sorry.
No, go right ahead.
Yeah. Whereas BubbleBlowers, they open up with a Crystal Maiden. There are just so many possible combinations with this hero. It's absolutely insane. But a second pick Clockwork, I don't know if they'll care about the Doom, but one of the most popular combo with Clockwork and Crystal Maiden will be the Storm Spirit, because you have two super long range initiations, and if you have a Life Stealer Bomb along the way, then you have some of the most insane long-range ganks that you can possibly have in the game of Dota 2. Until stupid things like Earth Spirit comes out, and then you've got Ember Spirit, and then you've got Legion, and then you get Phoenix. All these heroes, great mobility, so yeah.
Oh yeah.
As of now.
Yeah, and I'm sure once they do get into the captain's mode, things are just going to change immensely. Just the amount of mobility all those heroes have is just ridiculous. But I just want to make a point that, like you're saying, Slark and Doom pretty good at that mid-game ganking thing, and I actually really like the first two bans that Cede Nullis really took out with the Venomancer and the Timbersaw. And then they pick up a Slark right away, because of course most of their abilities still hit Slark when he's in Viz, would still hit a Doom once he does get Shadowblade. So I mean, whilst also taking out these really strong heroes, these kind of just good heroes that you want to ban out anyways, their lineup also works really nicely to not have to deal with Timbersaw or Venomancer, just for the Slark alone.
But the question is, Venomancer and Timbersaw, they both don't... I mean, you can't really stop the Slark from running away if he decides to.
Reserve time.
Yeah. I I just felt like they felt those two were the heroes they didn't want to deal with, perhaps. And Doom, his Scorcher, semi counters Venomancer's ultimate as well. So personally, of course, like I'm just trying to get inside the head, but I'm trying to understand why. And to me, it just feels like, I mean, if you look further down the bans, you see Luna being banned out as well. So they potentially don't want to deal with a heavy pushing lineup. But then again, if that's the case, why wouldn't you ban heroes like Pugna or Crobolus?
Yeah, for me it doesn't
those
seem
heroes' food.
doesn't seem too much like heavy push. Just the amount of AoE that they're taking out of this game right now is ridiculous. Like, they don't want Gyrocopter's flat cannon or call down. They don't want Luna's moon glaives and to a lesser extent Eclipse, I feel, and they don't want obviously the huge amount of AoE that that Timber and Veno can push out. So I mean, they have picked up a Shadow Shaman, so that's gonna be pretty terrifying, I feel, in those early pushes already.
Yeah, but then once again, Slug does pretty darn good against Luna as well. I mean, at no point, basically, if you one-on-one with Luna, Luna won't be able to kill you, but you have every chance to kill Luna, especially after you get a Shadow Blade. You Shadow Blade, initiate, start attacking on the Luna. If Luna ever pops the ultimate, then you pop the Shadow Dance, and Luna essentially just becomes food for you. Oh, and there's a Death Prophet. Both teams, they have a great pusher right off. I mean, for the second pick phase, you have Shadow Shaman for Cede Nullis, and you have the Death Prophet for BubbleBlowers. Still very interesting. I really want to know what the entire lineup's gonna be. But seeing that a Bane Elemental is being banned out, and you have a I'm just trying to think. Is Lifestealer something they want? Lifestealer, you can't really deal with the Slug. So if you're BubbleBlowers, what would you get, Briefcase?
Right now, against a Doom and a Slark and a Shadow Shaman, that's the thing, is that lineup, it's like, I really want to counterpick the Slark, because one who snowballs, it just feels so rough. And now that there is an Enchantress and a Doom on the field, you know that there's going to be people jungling. So now that the Enchantress has made an appearance, I think I can have a bit of a clearer picture, and personally I want to get something that will disrupt that jungle. I want to get like a Bounty Hunter. I want to get what's something one else? Maybe a Nature's Prophet who can TP in and be annoying in that regard, and you know, combo that with anybody who goes into the jungle and just try and guarantee kills against the Enchantress or the Doom if they're in the jungle. That's kind of what I feel like, a Bounty Hunter, something along those lines.
I'm not too sure, but in terms of, I'm understanding Cede Nullis' bans. If you look at Venomancer, Timbersaw, Gyro, Luna, well, maybe not the Luna, but the other three are all really good at defending Taros. So Cede Nullis, they're the ones looking to go for a summer push. And as a matter of fact, seeing that the Chen was picked up, Cede Nullis, could they do this?
What could they do?
I was thinking about Clinks. Clinks and Clinks would have been perfect, but I don't think they have the room for Clinks in their lineup. Unless they run a mid solo Clinks, but then the Clinks would just lose the lane to the Death Prophet, because he can't really handle the spam, especially if Death Prophet goes for the Bottle Crow. Ooh, this is a bit of a tough one.
Yeah, as far as
see
one thing that I think Cede Nullis, like, they might need, they kind of have an initiation, obviously, in Slark and Doom if they get those Shadow Blades. Enchantress is always there for slows as well, but one thing I'm a little bit worried about is the more I look at BubbleBlowers' lineup, as long as Chen lives through the initial burst of a team fight, they have a pretty tanky lineup. Like, Clockwork isn't going to fall, Death Prophet, once she gets a few items, is going to be hard to take down, and Chen, with that heal, is only going to bolster that. So those two main heroes, I feel, are pretty tanky. Cede Nullis seems to have a pretty strong lineup as far as continuous team fight, but not really enough burst for pickoffs at the moment.
Enchantress, Impetus, Shadow Shaman, Shackles, and...
Ooh, dude, full-on push.
Yep, so the bans made total sense. And actually, to be honest, I was gonna say they might pick up a Pugna for their last pick, and that's indeed what they go for. I mean, sure, you can say, hey, why didn't I say it beforehand? Why did I only say after the pick? But I swear, I was thinking about Pugna. And now I want to see a Tinker. Tinker, please,
Yeah,
please.
I was going to say, what do you think BubbleBlowers needs to pick up? Because clearly Cede Nullis is going for a very strong early to mid game push strat with, you know, Slark and Doom possibly to back him up into the late game if they need to. And they actually pick up a Lycan, and I kind of love this, honestly. Like, it's maybe not so much anti-push as it is we'll just trade.
Wow. Wow, push on push. I haven't seen push on push in a very, very long time, especially a Lycan pickup. Dude, you can tell I can barely speak my words. Like, I'm starting to stutter. Ooh, this is gonna be such a treat. Who do you think pushes faster? I think in terms of continuous push, BubbleBlowers would be faster, but in terms of like a single tower, Cede Nullis would be able to do it.
Continuous BubbleBlowers, because Lycan is always there, but as long as Cede Nullis has their cooldowns available, like Shadow Shaman throws down those wards, that tower's dead immediately.
Wow. And you look at team fights, who do you think has the upper hand?
God, see, that's the thing, is I don't know, Lycan will just get decrept right away, but the amount of dissent and like confusion that Clockwork can throw into a team fight is ridiculous. So I mean, that might be enough to really separate people and have Jalopy target one who really doesn't want to be there. But before all is said and done, and before we wax more about these push versus push lineup, let's get into who's actually playing who. So Jalopy gonna be playing this Lycan on BubbleBlowers. Cede, it looks like, gonna be playing the Chen. Darkslayer, the stand-in, gonna be the Crystal Maiden. Lacat, the Death Prophet. And it looks like IMD gonna be playing this Clockwork. Over on the Radiant, we got Supri. Is that? Am I saying that right, Mito?
I have no idea. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Supri as the Doom, I want to say. Zisu as the Enchantress. Lion as this Slark. Sony Zor gonna be playing this Pugna, and going as the Shadow Shaman, we have Freezer gonna be playing him. But I had this point against with these two splitting or these two pushing lineups, and now I just feel like it's lost ever so slightly. But at the very least, I'm really interested. Oh, I remember. How many Necros do you think we will see this game?
Oh man, I don't know. Like, okay, so you've got the Chen, you've got the Enchantress. They can just take each other's units and swap around, swap-a-roo. Yeah, so it does look like it'll be aggressive trialing from TCN. They want to put pressure on the Lycan because, I mean, Lycan, this hero pretty much has struggles during the early game stages. Whereas TCN, the heroes, can all pretty much fight from level 1 onwards. And Enchant does have the edge over the Chen starting from level 1, because you can enchant multiple units. It'll be interesting. This game is definitely something to expect. But down at bottom though, Clockwork will have the upper hand against the Doom if he gets multiple cogs onto the Doom and just completely depletes Doom's mana. Can potentially even solo kill the Doom. Down at mid, Crobulus versus Pugna. It's just a matter of like how this one I would say I would give it slightly for Pugna, just because Pugna can Decrepify into the Blast or Blast into Decrepify during the early levels. If you think the Decrepify won't, if you think the Blast will land, then you Decrepify the opponent. Yeah.
True. Death Prophet does have 1 extra base damage though, my friend.
Yeah, but
it's a big deal.
Sure. Death Prophet also has more armor, if you want to put it that way. And Death Prophet can throw out the Crypt Swarm from a further range, if you want to put it that way. Yeah. Then Pugna has the ward. Pugna ward. The Nether ward.
Oh yeah, that's what you want.
That takes away
too.
all your mana.
Better believe it. But yeah, as far as these lanes are concerned, it just feels like if Lycan is left to basically try and go tit for tat against a Slark, obviously you're going to lose that. Now it looks like Chen and Enchantress playing a little bit of back and forth with the clapping tomato. And Chen steals it, Enchantress takes it right away, and this is exactly what I wanted to see, basically.
Oh man, but that means the laning is going to be so much harder for Lycan, because the Chen won't be able to rotate in to help out. When you look at the duel lanes, alright, Rasta versus Slark, I feel that TCN has the slight edge in this 2-on-2 matchup, until Lycan gets a couple of levels.
Oh yeah, but now it looks like they're trying to make something happen on Darkslayer. They cancel the Clarity. Jalopy's still really far forward. Freezer, though, with no disables, only has Ether's Shock. If he had some, maybe it would have gone a little bit differently. But Zissou pretty much commanding this jungle against the Chen. Lion now, though, having to use Pounce just to get out of here because Jalopy getting a bit too much damage from that Howl along with Darkslayer. And I mean, that's only like, I was going to say, that's pretty much having that Howl at level 1, that's like a half as strong version as Ancient Apparition's ability. And now Jalopy doesn't seem to know what he wants to do here, and actually goes in for the attack against Freezer. Obviously, Zissou is there to guarantee the kill no matter what, but it's like a little bit of indecision, making sure that he dies.
And I'm really surprised that IMD is just allowing Doom to get his last hits. And yeah, sure, he's gonna use the rocket battery assault, but I don't. This isn't the way that he should be using the cogs. This is such a bad time to engage as well.
And
he might get killed over here.
Yeah, might even die. IMD now trying to fall and run away. Looks like he's trying to ring around the Rosie. And did he just use his salve and it get canceled immediately? It seems like it. Now Zissou actually getting chased down by wolves. Gonna be seeing or trying to find some body blocks, but the wolves with the smallest hitbox in the world. Lacat, though, trying to finish him off with the Crypt Swarm, and it looks like they might be able to, the wolves with the last hit. And Sony Zor, with that haste rune, not quick enough to help his teammate. But while that's happening, I mean, Slark Lion up top, all the farm in the world he could ever want. Looks like you also have Freezer getting free experience, so they basically chased him all the way from top lane jungle to mid lane just past the tower, and that's a lot of wasted time.
Oh yeah, and then I don't know why, every time I look at IMD, right, I start thinking about movies. Is it because of IMDb?
I think so. I've been having that same feel, actually.
Yeah. IMD top 20 movies.
That's right.
TCM versus BB.
Now it looks like Cede trying to set something up along with Lacat against Sonizor, and if they can get this Centaur stun, this might go their way really nicely. Sonizor now, though, is running. While that's happening, you have Zissou splitting up the creep wave with his Clapping Tomato. Jalopy having a hard time. They do not have a Clockwork ult at all, and this is one of those times when that move speed coming out of Pugna is working really well for him. He's, of course, got 370 with just brown boots, and is able to turn the tide of that. Does actually fall to this Centaur, maybe being a bit too ballsy, and as that's happening, it looks like Slark getting a kill up top on Jalopy, and it looks like Darkslayer now going to fall as well.
Wow, this tier 1 is going to fall really fast at this rate. If they dominate the lane and they have Enchantress and like Rasta, yeah, this top tower won't last very long.
It's going to fall right now, it looks like.
Yep. And I'm still having trouble understanding why a Clockwork is losing to Doom, though. It just, to me, it just feels like this isn't the way it should be. For me, like, from my understanding, if you really want to just shut down and focus on the lane, right, you can even go 2 into Power Cogs, or 3, to completely burn that mana, and then just get up close, cog him right in, and then turn on the Battery Assault. And if Doom doesn't have any mana for the Scorch Earth, then that's an easy solo kill.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess it has helped Doom a little bit that he's had this Centaur stomp the entire time, making it so that whenever he does get cogged in with IMDb, he just stuns him and turns it around. Sedge, though, now just being a little bit annoying, taking the Wildkin, but Sonizor still getting the kill, and Sedge actually needs to be pretty careful just because Doom's always there. He's hiding in the jungle and trying to make something happen, but this tri-lane coming out of TCN has just been so dominant in this top lane so far. I mean, just feels like BubbleBlowers Jalopy not having the start that he wants.
Yep, and another thought that I had was, sure, you're talking about Doom who has the War Stomp, right? But that costs 100 mana, and if you constantly use the Power Cogs, right, not only are you depleting his mana so you can go for the solo kill, but at the same time, you're preventing him from using Devour to farm. And I mean, look at Doom. He already has Face Boots and Ring of Basilius and Magic Stick 6 minutes in. He's doing really good. And if he can't use a Devourer, then I mean, how much item would he have by now? A Brown Boots, perhaps?
It looks like Lion missing a pounce up top on Jalopy. Not the end of the world. Sedge, though, just can't find any opening in this game right now. He's been completely zoned out of his own jungle from Enchantress, who just steals his creeps all the time. and now having to rely on the creeps of the opposing jungle, and he can't really go in and try and help with Doom because a simple Scorched Earth and Doom combo will be his undoing. And it just seems like Chen, who usually is the playmaker in these games, getting really, really dealt with very nicely by this Enchantress alone.
Yeah, the problem is Chen, if you're rotating bottom, right, just the Clockwork and Chen alone cannot kill the Doom. Especially like Doom just scouted him out. And if you can't help bottom, and your top is getting so heavily pushed, and at the same time, Pugna, he's not going to rotate, he's going to push his mid tower.
Now Doom goes on IMD. Freezer also with the shackles. Looks like IMD will fall here. Cede's trying to send him home, however, and he will be able to get him back there. So it looks like IMD actually going to live. You also have Lacat, who teleported in a little while ago. They don't have a good way to lock anybody down, however, and now Lion is here with the pounce. Just needs to land one, and that'll be a guaranteed kill more likely, and actually lands in between both of them, and unfortunate enough for him, Doom now turning around. Cede, not sure what he's doing back here, and will be falling. I can't see him getting out of this one alive. Supri cutting him down one more time with Exorcism down. All these heroes need to be a little bit careful, but it looks like those ghosts returning back. IMD is back in action, but Lion has popped that ult. Doesn't matter though, Crypt Swarm gonna be enough, and it looks now like Sonizor not too sure what to do, playing Ring Around the Rosie with the creeps. IMD getting a little bit of revenge now against this Doom, but Zissou is here, doesn't have any big creeps at the moment to really help out, and with the Crypt Swarms coming down as well as IMD always having that option to cogs and get away, it looks like we have TCN gonna be running out of there. But what were you saying, Mito? I interrupted the hell out of you.
I totally forgot, man. That was a pretty intense fight. I was watching, it's like, oh yeah, I'm watching movie on IMDb. I mean, like looking. I mean, that felt like a movie, honestly. There's so much action going on. It's like you have Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then you have like all these like macho guys just jumping on each other, constantly battling it out. And it's like, man, I had no idea what was going on, but I enjoyed it. I just saw like kills here and there, back and forth, and it's like, who actually won the fight? Do you know who won the fight?
I mean, when it comes down to it, if we look at the gold graph, it definitely looks like TCN.
Oh, that's cheating.
After that engagement, I mean, they both got a couple kills, and that's about it. So pretty even. Overall, though, in experience, it went from being pretty heavily in favor of TCN to being dead equal now. So I suppose BubbleBlowers came out ahead, just in the experience part alone.
Hey, but you cheated. You look at the golden XP
Oh, I
graph.
cheated the hell out of it, baby. That's right. You
Yeah,
better
but if you
believe
didn't
it.
know, would you have known who came out on top in that fight?
No. I probably would have said BubbleBlowers just because I want them to underdog it to victory, but we'll see. And now we actually have a smoke going down. Looks like Jalopy just hanging out, sends those wolves. Of course, they are indeed invisible now. Level 4, nice for them just to scout at the very least. And now IMD have no idea what he's doing here, trying to set something up and gonna fall immediately for pretty much free. And now it just looks like BubbleBlowers, they can't really do too much. They have the wolves going in, and now even Jalopy a little bit way too far forward, I should say, a little bit way. That's right, and now they are able to just retreat back. Lion not able to land any sort of pounce, but of course without this tier 1, everybody has to be running with their tail between their legs, and that's exactly how it's going. You do have Jalopy. TP's bot to get a little bit more farm and experience, but just looks like being way out of position, unfortunately, by IMD there.
Yeah, the game-changing item for me that I see as of now, that's coming up not too far away, is the Shadow Blade on Lion. Then it's gonna be so easy for him.
Now
to find
Sonizor caught out in the cogs, unfortunately for him, and silenced as well. Freezer now being caught out, no silence on him, so he does get some wards down, but it's not enough, and it looks like Supri gonna be able to get out of there with that Scorched Earth providing him. And right now, these wards not doing too much other than giving BubbleBlowers a little bit of extra gold. And I mean, with those 2 kills, that nice little engagement there, they've got to be equalizing things at least a little bit, I want to say.
Ooh. Doom has Midas and Devour. Block is close to Shadow Blade. They just need to buy a little bit more time. It feels like, sure, BB, they're getting the kills. They're even on the scoreboard, but they should be behind in terms of like gold, simply because Doom didn't join that fight. Slug was up there farming. I mean, Doom was in the fight, but he got away safely. And I mean, just being able to stay alive as a Doom and having your Midas and your Devour, you're gonna get so much more by farming anyhow. It feels like every time BB wants to fight, they have to dedicate 4 to 5 heroes to get some kills, and that does worry me a little bit.
It just seems to be slight reruns of that first kill on Enchantress in the mid lane, where they just had to dedicate and run across the whole map.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like Lycan has been in so many fights, but he's still doing pretty well. He has 2,000, yeah, about 2,100 gold on him, and that's not too far away from level 1 Necro, but if they really wanted to get the push going, a sub 20-minute Necro 3 would have been really, really great.
Oh yeah, and I mean, one thing that I failed to mention, and that I guess we both failed to mention, is that I didn't even factor in Crystal Maiden's Frostbite against the Enchantress creeps, which of course just basically takes them out of commission entirely.
Yeah, but then Enchantress can always get another one from Chen.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's a source of creeps, and now it looks like if Jalopy and Darkslayer stay down here, they need to realize something is up. They don't really have the vision of the jungle, I don't believe. Of course, this little wolf will give them that, but it looks like Darkslayer now getting caught out. Jalopy, he's just running away, trying to find a TP area. Freezer can't seem to find him fast enough, and that is some nice play coming out of BB right there. IMD goes in, but nobody is there to back him up, throws down the cogs. While that's happening, you got a doomed Lacat, but not before Exorcism was used. So, I mean, an unfortunate death for IMD seemed unnecessary as well, but a nice split up from BubbleBlowers there, and with Darkslayer also throwing out the Crystal Nova, making sure that excuse me, that Shadow Shaman couldn't find Lycan in time to actually stop him from TPing. I mean, just a nice little bit of play.
And dun dun dun, the Shadow Blade is on its way to the Slug. From then on, he doesn't even need to join team fights. Should someone be farming off on their own from BB, probably the Lycan. Well, he doesn't have to get the kill. All he needs to do is completely zone out that hero.
Oh yeah, and I mean, there's nothing that they can really do. He's sending in his little wolves, though, to clean up these wards, and that's working quite nicely for him. But, I mean, like we were saying, just the amount of, okay, this tower needs to die now, coming out of TCN is ridiculous with the fact that they have wards, they have Pugna. But, I don't know, as soon as BB maybe starts to come online, and once Lycan picks up something with that money, maybe that Necro book, like I'm sure he wants, I mean, I think it'll even things out a little bit, but like you're saying, Slark with the Shadow Blade, he's just going to have a terrific time no matter what.
Yeah, and this is really smart from BB, just having a couple of heroes in the back protecting IMD, because Slark will be looking for solo kills, and they are very well aware of this. And here we go. No.
Darkslayer runs in.
Is too smart as well.
Oh yeah.
Wow. The mind games. He felt it wasn't unsafe. He shows himself, baits the Crystal Maiden to come out. But what they don't know is the Death Prophet is behind as well. And now more and more people are rotating top. Freezer has made his way top as well. And you have... Oh, the hook misses.
Unfortunate. Sentry goes down just to make sure that he's not hanging around him, giving them the vision. And Jalopy now, he's just doing exactly what a Lycan's supposed to be doing, and he's picked up his Necro recipe. Does have a Supri running at him, but of course that Wolf always there to scout out for him, making sure that nothing happens. And he does need to be actually a little bit careful here. This Doom in a man fight would absolutely destroy him right now with this Pack Leader's Aura and Critical Strike.
I'm actually a bit confused. If you look at in terms of the number of towers taken, right? None of the towers from TCN have fallen, but all of the tier 1s from BB are gone. But it just feels like TCN doesn't have the map dominance that they should be having with the towers taken. It just feels like BB, they're still going strong, and now they're gonna get their first okay, they're definitely gonna get their first tier 1. And at the same time, TCN, they're just trading for the top tier 1. I mean, tier 2. So yeah.
But I mean, that's a great trade for TCN, but now it looks like they're going to be trading the mid tier 2 as well from Lacat's Exorcism, which of course is always going to be there. And it looks like earlier they just could not burst down Zissou fast enough to get through those Nature's Attendants, and they realize a lot of the heroes are up. Is this going to be a base race or a tier 3 for a tier 3? Kind of an odd time to pause nonetheless. Not too sure what's happening. But Freezer now, Looks like he's going to be porting back. Doesn't have any Serpent Wards to really stop anything, and now it looks like that is their decision. They're going to come back, make sure that this Exorcism doesn't take it down. But the Clapping Tomato doing a huge amount of work. Is it going to fall? Does indeed. They get the tier 3 for free there. Lion, though, is there. How many pickoffs can they get before everything is said and done? IMD now getting doomed. Lion, though, just wants to pounce on somebody. Misses everybody. Gets sent home by Chen as well. And because of that, now Darkslayer, the slowest little Crystal Maiden in the world, guaranteed to die. But at the very least, a pretty nice distraction.
Yeah, that was so good from BB. But I'm not too sure about that pause. That was a very questionable pause in my opinion. But it wouldn't have affected them. It was, I don't know why they lagged, right? But I mean, at the same time it gave TCN time to make a decision to go back and defend. From
now Jalopy getting engaged. There's no way out of this.
Yeah, sorry, I have to eat my words. Yeah, that pause, it wouldn't have affected BB by any means, but it's unlucky. I should have said it this way. It's unlucky that they had to pause because it gave TCN a bit of time to think about their choices, whether they're going to continue the push or whether they're going to defend. But that was a very costly defense from TCN because they lost their tier 3. Yeah, and now BB, it feels like they're back in the game, and now they're going to start chipping away the tier 1 and trade for tier 2. Yeah, so it's still gonna be a good trade for them if they get this tier 2 and they can continue to push. And yeah, now it feels like it's TCN's time to put on the pressure and make IMDb wonder. No, sorry, not IMDb, BB wonder if they wanna. Oh wow!
IMD, nice hook shot on 2, but the ward's down right inside with them. Lion though trying his very best. Cede now doomed as well, pretty much guaranteed to die. Lacat, though, pops the Exorcism running in. What can he do? Lycan, though, eating a lot of impetus damage. That move speed not helping him out too much there. And Lacat absolutely cleaning up right now. Gets a nice silence on Sonizor, but Lion always there. And that nice Cyclone Exorcism going to be enough to net him another kill, but not his life. And with that, I mean, you're getting, what is that, 4 kills for 3, still fairly even. You got a tier 1 for a tier 2, however, so I would give that slightly to TCN, but their push has stopped now on this bot lane.
You know, I think IceFrog should implement an option for DP to end his ultimate whenever you want to, because that heal would have kept the Corvulus alive. Yeah, but do you feel like, I mean, just look at the movement speed on these heroes. Slog, Doom with Scorch Earth, if Enchantress grabs the movement Aura Creep, and then on a Dire team you've got the Clockwork with the hook, and then you have Death Prophet and Lycan. There's so many heroes with high movement speed. And I mean, that's why like you see the fights are drawn all over the place. Like it started out here, and then like someone this way, someone this way. Wow.
Oh yeah, not to mention, let's not ever forget, Pugna has one of the highest movement speeds in the game.
Oh yeah.
It's important to note, he's a little fast dude.
And he's got 4 staff.
Oh yeah, so I mean, just the mobility coming out of these teams right now is ridiculous in this game, and like you were saying, it really just shows you why these team fights seem to split up, seem to have a lot of people moving around, and now it looks like they are going to be going for this Roche. Looks like there is going to be, of course, some contestation coming out of TCN as well, and if Doom can get a nice Doom target, IMD always does have cogs to split things up, however, and right now it looks a little bit more like a bait than anything else. But of course that is getting pinged out, and TCN seems to know it.
Yeah, Roshan is one of the big key, I would say, in this particular matchup. Both teams are very capable of taking the Roche and taking it fast. And just, I felt that the additional gold, because both teams are very momentum-based push lineups.
Now a hook coming out. It's on Zissou, and he has been silenced, but not before Nature's Attendants are down. Big channel, and Lion melts immediately. The buyback right away. Sonizor now can't get away from this fast enough, and it looks like Jalopy trying his very best. There is that life sap, and IMD, if nothing else, is a battery for that Pugna, and it looks like BubbleBlowers really did want to take that. They were pinging madly down here at the Shadow Shaman, saying, you know what, he's not in this fight, it's 5-on-4, we can do this. And with that one hook, this is going to be a Roche for them, guaranteed.
Yep. So BubbleBlowers, they're definitely coming back into the game. That was a great. I love that cock. It split TCN completely into two halves. The Doom was forced to run to the other side of the river and couldn't help out at all. Yeah. So beautiful cocks.
Beautiful cogs. Beautiful cogs. If there's one thing to say, beautiful cogs.
You don't want to say it too fast, otherwise it sounds a little bit, a little bit wrong.
But I mean, right now, after everything is said and done, and BubbleBlowers, they picked up that Roche and some nice pickoffs there as well. I just want to look at the gold graph. TCN still leading in gold. That experience graph dipping though quite nicely down for BubbleBlowers, and now it looks like Cede gonna get caught out completely, dying with no chance of escape. I mean, it still feels like anybody's game when it comes right down to it. Supri can just transition to being an immense tank. He's already got plus 15 armor from Vlad's as well as this plate mail. That's only going to increase as soon as he gets Assault. And Lion, I mean, he's got his ultimate orb. Do you think this is going to be, what do you suspect, a Lincoln's there or straight to Scatty?
Should be Scotty. There's no reason why he would want a Lincoln's.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the lineup.
I
There's
mean,
nothing to really block with it.
It would be cool if he goes for a Hex though. I mean, Hex is always useful.
Now Dark
dealing with
Slayers,
these high
once again, just stuck in the trees, forced to die. Does freeze whoever he can, trying to make this take as long as humanly possible, but eventually will fall and freezes Freezer, at the very least.
Oh man, when Crystal Maiden and Rasta tries to right click each other, it takes a while. But yeah. I mean, I just want to look at the overall net worth, and it feels like the game is definitely still very much in balance, except for the supports from BB. Yeah, but I mean, just because they have the Lycan and the Clockwork, it's like the double Spearhead in the front, and then they just have the other three heroes follow up. It feels like when they charge into TCN, right? TCN don't have, they can't stand their grounds. They're forced to retreat against all those big ultimates coming out. I'm sure Doom has a plate mail and Vlad, so just having that really high armor deals nicely with DP's ultimate as well as the Lycan Wolves and everything on top. But I mean, BB also has
hook on to Zissou. They do find him out. Nature's Attendant's gonna help with this, but of course he always does have Blade Mail. Looks like Zissou guaranteed to die here. Does take an extra long amount of time though because of those slows, and now does Shadow Shaman actually have ult? Actually he doesn't. Serpent Ward's still 20 seconds left to go. A buyback coming out of Enchant right away. This Exorcism gonna be doing an immense amount of work. No fortification as well, and with that Necro, I mean this has got to be at least one lane of racks. It looks like the buyback, or I should say buyback, backdoor protection, there aren't any actual creeps here, so that was getting tremendously low for still existing, and now BubbleBlowers just melting. Doom, though, takes quite a bit of damage himself. Huge impetus is flying down. As long as Lacat can actually live through this damage of the Doom and the Imps, he should be able to heal pretty much back up to full, and that's indeed what happens. There are those wards. Jalopy, is he able to get out of here? One last shot from Enchantress, just enough, and instead could not quite do it. Now this Centaur is able to actually find a Shadow Shaman. Jalopy now does respawn with that Aegis, and Lion actually is hiding in the trees, does always have a pounce to get out of here, and happens to land up there as well. And it looks like this push, I mean, it has been neutered. I thought for sure they were going to get this melee racks, but I mean, quickly realizing there aren't any actual creeps here, so that backdoor protection guaranteeing that thing lives through it.
Yeah, Jalopy was a bit too hesitant, just running back and forth on that high ground. If he just went in for one or two additional auto attacks, that would have been a Rax. And I mean, just look at how many heroes died from BB. It probably would have been a little bit more worth it getting that Rax. I mean, if your whole team is gonna pretty much just fall.
And I mean, one thing I want your opinion about, and something that I've actually run into a couple times in my play, is as Pugna, you always feel this want and need slightly to obviously get your Ags upgraded, just because Life Drain becomes, one, immensely strong, and two, you can spam it, and it's sometimes a pretty big lifesaver, not to mention you love the stats and the extra survivability. But against a lineup like BubbleBlowers, where you have Battery Assault doing a lot of mini stuns. You know Jalopy will be getting a Basher eventually. You can get Frostbitten. You have Centaur Chen Centaur Stomps. Not to mention that Lacat, one big silence even while you're doing it will stop it. I mean, do you always think that getting Ags on Pugna is required? As that happens, Lacat pretty much doomed now up top. Lion gets the pounce. Freezer is there as well, turning him into a chicken. Does stall this at least a little bit longer, and one more pounce to finish him off. But like I was saying, oh, actually there's engagement on the mid. Never mind. Sonizor able to run through the trees quite nicely. Now it looks like we have Jalopy chasing him down. The Necrobook's being used while that's happening, and Sonizor has to live this as much as possible. We have Doom chasing down IMD, and it definitely looks like Sonizor actually making Jalopy work for this immensely. One little hack and chop away by this Necro Warrior. Very, very nice. And now he should be sicking these onto Freezer because using them on a Zissou is just not going to work. While that's happening, it did indeed look like Supri picking up a kill against TCN. Or I shouldn't say TCN, against this Clockwork in the mid lane. But yeah, do you always think that Pugna getting Ags is the right choice every single time?
No. There are a lot of other options, but it is good when you have, say you're going to team fight a lot, right? And you have enough tanky heroes in front, securing that you'll be able to do the damage from a safe position, then yes. But if you're just going to push straight up, then why not go for Necrobooks? If you need more disable, why not go for a Sheepstick? But Aghanim Scepter is very, very good.
Yeah, fair enough.
I love the items.
Now it looks like the
I would say
constant siege. Just to interrupt, I want to see just to get the tower now, trying to turn things around. It's an Enchantress illusion, so nothing gonna come from that. But please continue now.
Yeah, I mean, I still love that item, but I feel it's not 100% that you go for that item.
Would you
every
personally
single time
get it in this matchup?
As a primary core item? Oh, in this matchup. As of now, yeah, why not? I don't see any reason not to. Sure, you have the Clockwork, but he doesn't have a Force Staff, which means if you get cogged, if you get hooked and cogged, and then he's using the Battery Assault, you can just force your staff out of the way. And now there's a wraparound for TCN, and they're gonna go on IMD, but while this is happening, the racks might fall.
Now Freezer, obviously no Serpent Ward. Supri does have a Doom available, does land it on Lacat, but not before Exorcism is used. Will melt before it does too much though, and now Cede getting caught out as well. That Chen ult, not quite enough. Darkslayer gonna be melting to Lion, but you do have Jalopy trying to clean things up as well, and when it comes right down to it, it just looks like BubbleBlowers coming apart at the seams a little bit. Some beautiful play. Jalopy now going to get caught out as well by TCN, and IMD not able to help out his compatriots at all. Lacat actually buys back, maybe unnecessarily it seems like, and I mean, it just looks like TCN coming out way ahead in that engagement. A beautiful little smoke from them.
Yeah, they know the priority is to just shut down the Corvulus. Corvulus is, I mean, they can burst him down. A Doom and then a couple of blasts from the Pugna, whatnot. Once you take out the Corvulus, then your only hero that can do damage is the Lycan, and he can only focus on one hero. And I just feel like BB, they're constantly trying to attack the Doom, or the Doom is just charging into them, forcing them to engage on the Doom. But either way, that definitely shouldn't be the primary target that they aim for. And with so many heroes dying, Goldgraph and Exigraph has just gone wild.
Oh yeah, TCN seeming to just lead these charts, and now Supri, he's getting to that point where he's almost too much tank to handle, especially if Exorcism is down, and now these Serpent Wards going to be doing quite a bit of work here, not to mention that they really do zone out BubbleBlowers so that they can't deal with this Nether Ward, and that is doing just an obscene amount of work for them right now. Will Jalopy actually fall? He does to that urn just in the last seconds, and now a Necrobook looks like is going down. Was that actually a stolen Necrobook from Enchantress, I want to say?
I'm not too sure, but the more I think about it, right, when BB had that really good push that they almost took the racks, imagine how it would have been different if the DP went for a mech for his team.
And now,
right now,
just interrupts TCN, turning things around, baiting it out, pretending to have gone home, but of course they have not. IMD now falls as well, as that Chen Sedge. Darkslayer, no pounce landing on him, but will still melt, and Lacat with no exorcism available, not going to be able to stop this push. This Rax is definitely dead. A buyback out of IMD now as well to hook in, maybe stall things a little bit, but there is some backdoor protection at least for a little while longer. So while they don't have exorcism, they do have that at the very least, and now just waiting for creeps to come in, trying to keep this as low as possible. And if they can just keep these creeps out of here long enough, this will regen back up nicely. Exorcism being used. Darkslayer can't do too much. Jalopy, slowed to high health, finally has his ult available. IMD now, though, does find a Zissou in the cogs, happens to finally kill them, and now can they continue this going on with Supri? IMD, no hookshot available, and Supri, with that Scorched Earth, moving incredibly quickly, actually also has a Force Staff, should he? And he does indeed. Forces himself up onto that cliff and gets out of there scot-free.
Wow, that was such a smart move. If only the Clockwork has Force Staff, then he could have forced over and put the cogs and then push him off. That would have been fun. Yeah, but these team fights, I feel like the Crobolus DP Ultimate, right? It's really blurring my vision in team fights. It feels like, wow, I'm looking at so many things at the same time. Which one should I pay attention to? And Slok right now, he has enough money for the Scotty if he wants to go for it. If he wants to pick it up right now.
I mean, he might as well. Now it just looks like another engagement possibly happening in the mid. Always staying outside of this smoke range, so some nice play there. And Lion, he's going to go in and scout at the very least. Supri is there. Does have Doom, just waiting till that's off a cooldown. Now they get it. Indeed, no exorcism used yet. But it doesn't matter. Jalopy absolutely melting, has a double damage. Are those Serpent Wards going to finish him off? Doesn't matter. Supri able to get him with that Force Staff. And now with 3 dead and the Roche going their way, who has buybacks on the Dire? Actually, not a single one of them, and they know that's the GG. Without any buybacks, this is a guaranteed game.
Wow, so ultimately TCN comes out on top in terms of, well, in terms of their push power. I don't know. What's the word for it? Help me breathe.
What do you want? What do you want?
I don't know. It just feels like it's a push on push, right? And it did go back and forth for quite a while. At some point, we felt like, hey, TCN was gonna just flat out win, and then we felt like, wow, BB, they're making a huge comeback, and then they're gonna start taking the Raxes and use this Lycan to like immense proportions and like just destroy everything.
Yeah.
And then it went the other way again.
Yeah, it just seems like TCN, well, not only with that slight early play that really did shut down Chen for a little while there, just came out on top overall, and the burst push out of them with the play, or the Serpent Wards I should say, just seems to have trumped the Lycan with Necrobook. It just didn't seem that he could really continue to go in and push up lanes when, you know, there was a lot of good support out of them as well, and then eventually, just the armor coming out of Doom just seemed to be too much of a tank for anybody to deal with as well.
Yeah, that's a smart thing. They picked up the Enchantress, because Enchantress does pure damage, and it would have been a great pickup against Doom. They also banned out the Obsidian Destroyer, if I remember correctly. So yeah, they had a very clear draft in mind. The bans are very specific. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but nonetheless, some beautiful Dota right there, and I have been your caster briefcase for this ESPL Weekly Series number 3, and with me, and who's gonna lead you out of this? The lovely co-caster Mito.
Yeah, I mean, dude, thanks for watching, guys, and yeah, I mean, you guys have seen some spectacular games today, and there's still more to come, so stick around, and we'll see you soon.